Armenia, how you doing, YouTube? My last recordings were so goddamn embarrassing, I didn't even bother posting them. I'd like to post a correction here by Davey, who was nice enough to watch the VOD and send me this correction. Just wanted to clarify that Armenia had defeated Azerbaijan back in 1993, not in 2020. Back in 1993, Armenia mistreated the Azeris. Azerbaijan defeated Armenia in 2020 until a ceasefire was reached. Then Azerbaijan defeated Armenia-backed troops again in 2023. Armenia refused to intervene to protect the Armenian-backed troops this time. I see. So thank you. Thank you, Davey, for that correction. And thank you, Hollow Husk and Davey, for your comments. So let's get into it a little bit more. I got 2 more videos to follow up on Armenia, Azerbaijan, Armenia. I don't know if there's anyone I'm rooting for here per se. It really does seem like Armenia tried some shit. Azerbaijan, you know, not exactly innocent either. Russia's involved. So it's like, okay, you know, it's like, all right, you tried to do this occupy, create a new state, liberate the new state thing. It didn't work. Can we just go back to, you know, let's just go back to 20 years of not talking to each other, and then maybe we can start acting like adults again, you know?
This is the first UN mission to Nagorno-Karabakh in some 30 years.
Yeah, Davey is correct over here mentioning that there is no, so far there has not been any actual, I haven't seen any proof at least of genocide or ethnic cleansing. There's only the fear of that, which really kind of, I mean, 90,000 people, probably more than that. That was yesterday's number. But I mean, it really does tell you that I think there's a lot of people that kind of understood that this was not justified. Them being there was because of force, and if that force was no longer there, if that violence was no longer there to defend them, they were no longer safe because they weren't on their land. You know, they weren't in their country. This was an attempt to occupy and take a part of it. Like, you know, they're leaving immediately, which, you know, and they're leaving, they're going back into Armenia. So I don't know. The whole thing seems, look, I'm a fucking white Western idiot here. Okay. I'm desperately trying to understand this shit, and I'm doing a terrible job of it, but I can't, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, cause it's like if Israel is ever pushed out of Palestine, I'm not going to be feeling bad for Israel. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to compare the two here, but I'm just saying it kind of seems like an attempt to do the whole Russia style thing of, you know, create an independent space. That independent space declares independence from the country it was in. Then big country comes in to protect independent space that is then eventually absorbed and converted into big country's country, right? It kind of seems like it was one of those.
And they entered via Azerbaijan, via the town of Agdam on Sunday morning. Those images shown on Azerbaijan state TV and
yes,
media
Hollow,
networks.
It's very
also,
possible.
That UN mission confirmed by a spokesman for the Azerbaijani presidency. So pictures of several white 4x4 UN vehicles rolling into Nagorno-Karabakh were broadcast by them. The UN mission comprises several different agencies. We're told of around about a dozen people, and it's to assess the humanitarian needs of the people there. But that begs the question, are there any people left there for them to assess the needs of in the part that had been populated until very recently by ethnic Armenians? Well, we've seen a great exodus from there of people fleeing into Armenia proper through here, the town of Goris, and people telling us there are barely any ethnic Armenians left inside the enclave itself. And there's quite a bit of anger here on this side of the border about the timing and nature of this UN mission, of people saying that it comes far too late, that they...
The West knew this was happening. The West knew that they weren't intervening. And by the West, I mean all of the Western alliance, not just the United States. They saw this coming. Because Azerbaijan has been arming up. They've been, spending an incredible amount of money on their defense industry. This has been a long time coming. So the Western alliance knew this was coming. And what they're doing is just trying to avoid unnecessary death, I think they fully predicted this happening, and they said they made a conscious decision. No, we're not intervening, but we will come in at the last moment once it's done to try to alleviate some of the death toll and because you've seen some of these pictures. We're talking like 95-year-old, cane wearing, can take one step a minute grandmas, leaving. So they do need lots of assistance. We're seeing cars pulling up, people throwing food into the windows as they're leaving to Armenia. Wow, this is really something else. It's amazing to me that, if you were to walk up to the average person right now and ask them what's going on in Armenia, they'd be, what are you talking about? It's amazing, that the world, all these things are happening in the world, and a grand majority of people are just like, all I know about is Trump, Taylor Swift, and my family and me, of course, but that's all I got. My job as well. Maybe throw my job in there too, right? But a lot of people, they want to be containerized. They really don't have that interest or capacity. And I'm not trying to insult. It just seems like that's the mainstream, right? So it's amazing to me that this is amazing, right? What we're seeing, what we're witnessing right now, this geopolitical maneuvering, and then how it affects people on the ground immediately. And it's just, crickets from, you go to MSNBC. I'm not even going to waste my time fucking going there. But if we were to go to MSNBC, Trump, right? It's, and I get it. It's a big story. It's a president being indicted. It's a huge fucking story. Even I'm covering it. And because I fucking hate Trump, I hate covering it. But anyway, it's just amazing.
Needed humanitarian help in the past, but now there's no one there left
Turkey
to
or
help.
Get
So
gas-rich Azerbaijan.
big questions about what use it will serve, and also what about the long.
And we see this with Palestine as well, right? Like if you have nothing to offer the Western alliance and some big brute is bullying you, there's no automatic assumption that the West is just going to come and help and save you. If it's going to negatively affect their trade deals, their whatever it is, you're fucked. You're abandoned.
Term plans for what is going to happen in Nagorno-Karabakh, which sits inside Azerbaijan's internationally recognized borders, but had been home for decades to ethnic Armenians who set up a separatist state, which they named Artsakh. Well, we've seen them flowing out of there. Many people who said they'd been lacking food, fuel, basic supplies for several months. And what the future of this disputed area will be, of course, remains to be seen.
All right. So that's the, okay. I don't have, you've already heard my comments already. So I just got these two videos queued up. UN mission to arrive in Nagorno-Karabakh as almost all Armenians leave. So maybe we'll get some more details about the timing of this, because it's pretty clear that, like I said, the West knew this was happening. And they knew that they weren't going to prevent it. So they were like, okay, well, but we're definitely going to be there to, at the very least, assist so that the death toll is reduced.
Is set to arrive in the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. It will be the world body's first access to the region in around 30 years.
I guess the other real question is Azerbaijan going to, I guess there's fear of an invasion from Azerbaijan into Armenia?
Almost all of the ethnic Armenian population have now fled to Armenia following an Azerbaijani military offensive last week. Armenia has asked the European Union for assistance to help it deal with the influx of refugees.
Azerbaijan is taking down the last signs of resistance in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Wow.
The Defense Ministry released this footage showing
they wasted no time to erase their presence. Damn, dude. All this kind of shit looks the same. You know, this because it's reminding me of Israel Palestine and a million other situations, I'm sure. But we're seeing it in real time. We're seeing it happen in 2023. It's crazy. And look, the history is complicated. These people might have very well been there, you know, and demanding their own, you know, country. I mean, I use the example of like I said, Texas, right? Of Texas joining, you know, declaring independence, then joining up with Mexico, and then all of a sudden Texas becoming, you know, part of Mexico, part of the, you know what I mean? How insane that would be for us. So I could imagine if you're in Azerbaijan, seeing all this happen, it would be like, no, these people have to go. They have to go. And of course, we see the inverse happening with Israel-Palestine, where Israel is justifying its destruction of Palestinian areas by saying, oh, we were here first in the 1300s. You know, some crazy, I'm like, way the fuck back, way the fuck. Palestinians have been there hundreds of years. Oh, no, we were actually there way, way back. So, yeah, remember when Jim Moneymaker, I remember, you know, actually, no. So I don't know where the origin of that is. Maybe Cenk in his young days said that, but TYT, Anna, and Cenk have made it explicitly clear that they do not deny the Armenian genocide. With that said, I don't really trust what TYT has to say anymore, but I'm not going to be an anti-intellectual and go along with this TYT smear when they've made it very clear that they acknowledge it, Anna herself being Armenian. So, kind of a canard. Let's dig a little deeper. You want to criticize TYT, criticize Cenk's support of a right-wing politician last election season. Right? Let's criticize TYT's constant badgering about spending so much money in Ukraine. Right? When the numbers don't support that. We're barely spending, I mean, comparatively, right? We're barely spending anything. And we're refreshing our armament. There's a bunch of, things that TYT is not mentioning. So let's dig a little deeper, Moneymaker, in the TYT criticism instead of going for this, honestly, fake criticism. Because they've made it very clear that they don't deny it. They did some kind of TV network thing. The first fucking thing they did when they did this TV network thing, Anna did this special about the Armenian genocide and about how they don't deny it. So come on, we can find better things to criticize TYT for.
The demolition of what it says were military outposts set up by ethnic Armenian forces. In another video, officials claim to have found weapons abandoned by the separatist fighters.
Davey, but you're right.
Azerbaijan reclaimed control of the region following an offensive last week.
I'm not lying to you.
That sparked an exodus of ethnic Armenians that has nearly emptied Nagorno-Karabakh.
Need to lie to you.
Or Artsakh, as it is known locally. They fear violence and persecution if they stay.
I didn't have that planned.
After having seen everything, it pains me to be leaving Artsakh, but I hope I will be able to come back someday. Artsakh is one of the paradises on earth that cannot be traded with land or wealth. The world should never believe that we are leaving Artsakh willingly. We fought to the very end with our blood, with our lives to protect our country.
This sounds like religious mumbo jumbo. This is all justified because of the book, right? Some fucking book. Yeah, this is no. Moneymaker. You think I'm fucking lying to you? How? Why? Why? Look it up, man. You're repeating fake information. They've corrected the record multiple times. I don't like TYT, but I'm not going to be anti-intellectual. I'm not going to be a fucking moron and say shit that isn't true just because it feels good.
Let nobody ever believe that the people of Artsakh are leaving voluntarily.
Yeah, okay. Is that what your book says?
In the Azerbaijani capital Baku, authorities insist that ethnic Armenians are not being forced out.
If somebody puts down the guns, and actually what we have observed recently, but if the ones putting down their guns and they're free, and they have decided on a personal choice, individual choice, to go to the Republic of Armenia. But I understand, but therefore I respect their freedom of movement. And therefore, from Azerbaijan's side, we really in no way accept such abuse, such accusations like Azerbaijan is kind of ethnic cleansing or genocide.
After the Bernie fiasco, I dropped him like a hot fucking turd. I was like, we're seriously taking Elizabeth Warren here seriously, you know. And I've seen too much evidence that they're just going in a direction I don't really appreciate. With that said, I show a TYT clip here once in a while. They're still doing good work. I don't know if they should be calling themselves Home of the Progressive while supporting right-wing politicians.
Azerbaijan has pledged to respect the rights of ethnic Armenians.
What a cutie. Look at him. He's playing in the dirt.
But the people fleeing Nagorno-Karabakh simply do not trust those promises.
Sorry, I have a kid. I just called a small kid cutie. You might... okay, you don't get it. I'm a parent. It's a thing. Okay, this is embarrassing. Yes, I call my boy. He's cute. He's a little cutie. All right. I'm getting all Vosh up in here.
I've asked Neil Hauer, a Canadian journalist based in Armenia, how the country is coping with the influx of refugees from Nagorno-Karabakh.
Welcome back.
I mean, on first glance, you know, Armenia has done an admirable job, I think. You know, that the people were coming in, they were arriving in the city of Goris in the center there. The
if we had ranked choice voting, then I would 100%, 110% support voting for third parties. That would be the top of my thing. I don't care if motherfucking Krusty the Clown, right? That would be my protest vote. But we don't have ranked choice voting. Ergo, we need to be smart with our vote. And this denialism coming from people who want to be ideologically pure over victorious is incredibly tiring.
Major city to Nagorno-Karabakh, and they were being registered there, given food, water, medicine, etc., and then directed either to their places where they can stay or put on buses, even taking them to cities throughout Armenia. But of course, this is a massive burden for a small developing country like Armenia.
As you well know, a UN mission is due to visit Nagorno-Karabakh. Any word on whether Azerbaijan will actually let them in?
I need to know the history of this conflict from the beginning before I start agreeing with bleeding hearts. Because I do agree, it's sad, and I don't want to see it, and this is very disturbing, and I wish it didn't have to go down like this. At the same time, what's the geopolitical reality?
Whether Azerbaijan will actually let them in.
Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good. Hey, Sheba Chetcher, here. This is absolutely for you, buddy. Okay, this is why I have this here. Here, I'll go ahead and put this in a better spot for you. There you go. Enjoy the news, my Zoomer friend.
I mean, it does seem like they're leaning towards letting them in, but they've also delayed it this entire time to the point where now there is, as of right now, there is probably just about no one left in Karabakh. I think the last people are being evacuated as we speak. So Azerbaijan did not allow them in when there was huge humanitarian needs a week ago when people were being evacuated, and they still had very limited access to food, water. Azerbaijan didn't allow in the UN or anyone else. And so now it's only after the region has been ethnically cleansed that they're allowing it.
Well, that leads to the next obvious question then, which is how important is this mission if most ethnic Armenians have already left?
Okay, DCH.
I mean, the mission will be, you know, sort of a farce, I think. It'll be a documentation of what's happened there, that, you know, that there is no one left, that everyone has left under coercion from Azerbaijan after 9 months of blockade and yet another military assault. I think the next question that we have is, you know, can Azerbaijan be stopped from attacking Armenia itself, as they're increasingly indicating that they'd like to do?
Okay, so is what this guy is saying true then? Is Azerbaijan gonna like wipe Armenia out? Because that's no good. I don't think that's good. Look, we gotta we can't have this, because where are these people gonna go? Where are these people gonna go? We can't have this.
That is Neil Howard. Many, many thanks for your time and perspective there.
All right. We will absolutely be doing more on Armenia very soon. We're going to get into the whole history of it here. We might have a very, very serious situation here with Armenia if Azerbaijan decides to just take the whole goddamn kit and caboodle. The West is probably heavily encouraging Azerbaijan. Okay, we gave it to you. We're not going to fuck with you. You got them kicked out of Nagorno-Karabakh. They're gone. It's yours again. Stop. Right? We just saw Kosovo. The next story is about Kosovo, and we just saw Mr. Juicy Lips pull his troops away from the border. So don't think that the fucking West isn't out here doing that shit. This video is absolutely hypnotizing. I can't stop looking at it. Wow. This shit works. This shit works, dog. Look at that. Like rolling in the sandcastle. Yeah, man. That's good. Wait a minute. Okay, no, we're talking about Armenia here. So it's very serious business here. So we're definitely going to be following up later on the News Underground. Thank you so much, YouTube. Like and subscribe to see my feet on my Patreon.